Breaking stereotypes, moving boundaries, joining hands. Salam Media.
لا تقل لوحدي أو كيف السبيل.
Humanity sets the agenda.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. 8:37 exactly. News and views right here on Salam Media. My name is Julie Ali, and we do hope you'll keep us company till at 10 o'clock this morning. Now, on the show this morning, we start off with a very serious issue, and this is regarding the Pretoria High Court having recently convicted businessman Muhamed Sajid Khan of 2 counts of murder for killing Mukhtar, Matlala, and Avela, Mbewu. To talk to us about this matter is President of African Civil Revolutionary Movement, Musa Kumbe. And Musa is also from Justice for Mukhtar and Avela Support Group. Salaam alaikum, dear brother. Welcome to the program.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Do you believe justice has been served? When we look at this issue, and you're going to give us context to this these particular murders, do you truly believe that justice has been served? Obviously, the sentence will only be passed on the 31st of May 2022.
Alhamdulillah, first of all, we know we are living in a dunya where there's too much of mischief. Be it our scholars, some of our ulamas, some are law enforcement people that are implicated in this matter. This matter of Mukhtar Avela from 2020 is being a very worrying matter, and it nearly broke Islam apart and the communities in a way that all of these people who are involved, more especially Mr. Khan, he's not alone. He's got his fellow network and people and brothers that operates with him. This thing is more a criminal syndicate operating in the country and bigger, with serious intimidation and threats, even to those who are still outside, for those who nearly got killed, who survived the shooting on that day. Because on the ground, Mr. Khan still have some of the fellow wings or friends that are operating with him. He is not just a businessman, he is also a person that is too deep with criminal activities. What type of criminal activities are we talking about? We're talking of building hijackings, we're talking of human trafficking, we're talking of illicit cigarette smuggling, we're talking of all types of crimes that are on a serious level of concern in the country. Now, with the victims that were killed, Avela and Mukhtar, these people are the people that were recruited by them to come and assist them to protect the buildings that they're taking from other deserted buildings. And Mukhtar and Avela, they've got their own businesses, and they formed this specific forum that they formed and agreed upon that they'll work together. Now, the fight behind these two is because of the building or property that Khan actually wanted to occupy, which Mukhtar and Avela were using, and they were staying at it with some boys from Mamelodi, which they went and recruit to use them as their bouncers, as their protectors and securities to those properties that they've hijacked. And how do they hijack these properties? There are government officials involved in this who give them opportunity and access to documents to do fraud and own these properties. This is more...
Musa,
Yes.
everything that you're saying here is frightening and very, very serious allegations. And I'm wondering, undoubtedly, we know that these things are happening in our country. I don't deny that at all. We know it's happening. But in a situation like this, you are suggesting that this accused, who's been now found guilty of murder, he, of course, is Muhamed Sajid Khan. You're making these allegations against him. Do you have the evidence to point directly at him? Because he could obviously he's going to be sentenced in May, but he could possibly, if it is not true or if it is only partially true, he could level charges of defamation against you. So that's where I'm coming from with these allegations.
Unfortunately or fortunately, by Allah's grace, I'm not just an activist. I'm also a private investigator.
Alhamdulillah.
I deal with such elements or cases, and I can bet you I've got strong evidence to my statements. And I've been approached by some of his colleagues or the team offering me monies to bribe the judges, and I had refused all the funds. So this is not just allegation. When you live in this dunya, first of all, you must fear Allah. Don't fear any human being. Allah comes first. So the problem that we have here is having a very democratic environment where our even scholars or people of Allah, people, businessmen, are not doing fair businesses like the hadith or Allah Ta'ala teaches us. So the truth remains that we cannot keep on hiding the truth with lies, whereby we protect our people. So I was there at the court, I've been approached, I have rejected all the offers, and I'm the one who elevated this matter to the National Commissioner's office and made sure that this matter is really looked into. And I did this, then that's when these other NGOs came in party in support and solidarity of the matter, because even those other organizations such as MKVA, Sanko, and so on, that came in the party, they came because they're also protecting some of the properties there in Lothian. Remember, I don't even stay in Pretoria. I'm far away. I'm right in the Free State. But because of my work and the nature of the call I had received in that area, I got hands-on, and I had rejected the offers from the network, and I know there were properties. Yes, even if the people could have offended you, those people were not armed. They did not come with guns. They did not start shooting at you. They had nothing to point at. But for you to pull a firearm live daylight and shoot randomly, there's a purpose, there's a motive of the shooting. So the guy, there's no justice as yet until and if only government can clean up the syndicate.
Okay, let's go back to the beginning. We are now awaiting the judgment or the passing of the sentence at the end of May. What about the business partners or the people that are involved in this hijacking syndicate that you talk about, that the accused is involved in? Do you not fear for your life, number one? And what about what's happening as far as all of these other hijacked properties and buildings are concerned in that part of Gauteng? Obviously, the authorities are aware of it. How much more pressure do we have to bear on the authorities to do something about reclaiming these properties? Because undoubtedly, as you have also indicated, is that there are brothels being opened in these abandoned, dilapidated buildings. There's human and drug trafficking and illicit, the grey cigarette trade. All of this is being operated from these buildings and by this supposed mafia. Where do we stand on this issue?
First of all, I think our government needs to really look into this. It is a serious crime going throughout Gauteng, and not only by Mr. Khan, but multiple people, be it Nigerians in Mayfair. Mayfair, there's lots of buildings that are also hijacked, and people are paying triple the amount of rental. There's so much of serious extortion and unfair charges to such, and those properties are not even registered to be businesses and business centers and so on. Number two, government has to really look into it, but it cannot do anything if its employees are on the payroll of such people. So definitely we do need a community support, our Muslim scholars, our professionals, to be part and parcel of this and report such things to the police and come forward. But people are scared for their lives, like you're asking me about my life. Look, first of all, I'm not scared of anybody except Allah. And I'm not saying this because of fame or anything, but I fear nobody except the truth. You know, if the truth is said, even if you're to die for the truth, Allah Ta'ala will bless with Jannah. But the bottom line here is our people are being cruel, and we cannot pretend that we don't see these things happening. And if some of us don't walk out and stop them, then these things will keep on happening. Society is dying. Young people are dying. Young children are trafficked. People are being brought from Somalia, Ethiopia. They are brought in here, wrongfully so. And this now, they also use locals. South Africans are also involved, because when it comes to kidnapping, to the shooting, they hire the very same township boys from Mamelodi, from Soshanguve, from Boko Haram gang, to do the same thing and take the hit on other fellow opponents in business, of the same business. So in regard to that, I think government has to really run a serious project, look into this, and we as communities also, let's not be scared, let us not be afraid to come out and help the law enforcement or government to fight such a syndicate, because it's true they exist and kidnapping is rife. We can't run away from it.
Musa, this is horrifying to say the least. But that, of course, raises a whole host of issues, and I'm really sorry that we have such a limited time on the show this morning to discuss this. We really need an in-depth interview to go deep into this issue and the backstory about all of this. That also then brings to light the issue of Operation Doola, because clearly this is the type of evidence they would use to justify their actions. Um, and it's terrifying that, when we see and we keep saying and asking people to allow common sense to prevail and don't use just jungle justice on foreign nationals, whether they are guilty of these offenses or not. So that's the one issue. And in this situation, the other issue that we're looking at, and it glares us in the face and nobody seems to be addressing it, is the divide between Black Muslims and other Muslims in South Africa. In this particular instance, and I'm not fanning or inciting anybody by suggesting this, I'm talking openly because it's a fact that stares us in the face. This was a Pakistani foreign national that had killed two local Black South African nationals, one being a Muslim and the other one, I think, non-Muslim. Please respond to that.
Then, first of all, with Operation Doola, I can say it's wrong for government to allow them to walk in the street and approach individuals or migrants, because South Africa doesn't have any refugee camps, and South Africa has to strengthen its borders and vetting of migrants. And South Africa has to look at with immigration, look into each and every citizen and migrants that they are all safe and they have relevant documents. That's one. Number two, Operation Doola, if it's doing what they are doing, they are provoking anger and there will be confrontations, because the people that you are confronting or challenging are people from various countries with different stresses and anger, and some are well trained off, some are soldiers, some are very independent. They can fight back. So that if government is not looking safely into it, they are causing a threat and instability in communities and division. Two, the groups. Let's not forget to let's always remember not to count crime as crime. What these people are doing, even the victims, may God have mercy, may Allah have mercy with their, inshallah, their body and the families. Those people also, they should also choose what do they enter into, because problem here is us responding only after the effects, not knowing where it started and how it came upon that they all got together and they had confrontation. So the groupings of criminality must always be regarded as groups of criminality, and they should not be brought into public as if all citizens or races or nationals are the same. Example, I'm also participating with the Pakistani Association of South Africa. I do some of the project. I've been in their meetings in Mayfair. I've met also African Diaspora Forum. We work together. I'm also saying no to foreign, no to xenophobia, no to foreign attacks. And let's allow the government to mediate between the situation in the country. Now, with what is happening now with the police and so on, I'm still begging only the police to look into this, and they must stop taking bribery, and they must stop looking at the easy come and easy go cash, because at the end of the day, we cannot control the situation. So finally, on my side, I know people will have different understanding, more especially if you talk of a race or tribe. I'm a Muslim. I choose no color. I love everyone out there. And that is why even the division in Islam, we speak with some of the ulama there in Pretoria and in Soweto and so on to say, let's unite. Jamiatul Ulama has to rise up. You know, Islam, all our Islamic organizations has to also make programs that will address the serious problem that the nations or the Muslims are facing in the country. It shouldn't be that only when there's crisis we all stand up. It's time when da'wah, our daily job, has to grow into communities and go and educate people about unity, love, and teamwork. So, inshallah, I think in this regard, I don't support anything to do with race, with any foreign attacks. And I work with all because we are actually one nation and one person. So, at the end of the day, one another. But the
Okay.
problem is whereby our fame, our wealth, business competition, create all these things are based because of the love of the dunya. Nothing more than that.
It's outright greed, is what I say. But okay, we have a comment from Brother Malik Arafat, and I'm going to read it out to you. Please respond. Malik is asking, how do we respond to this? Mukhtar was part of us. Even then, Avela was a friend to Mukhtar. We need to create a justice framework that allows us to mediate issues amongst Muslims. And there are a lot of such unresolved issues. And that's a comment from Brother Malik Arafat. Over to you, Musa.
You know, unfortunately, we are living in an Islamic state where the Sharia don't really exist. And even if it's there, our fatis, the muftis, they take time to be part of government decision and implement Islamic laws and so on, or be part of Islamic rulings. So to mediate in a death, brutal death, such as that one, it's a very difficult thing to do. Example, you go to China, depending on the quantity of the drugs you have in possession, you'll be sentenced to death. Neighboring country, Botswana. How about murder and rape? I mean, how do you mediate on murder and rape where someone is really killed? If it was Islamic State, I don't think we'll need a mediation. We'll have a party, a judge, and we'll have executor at the same time. But yes, it's true. We don't we don't promote aggression. But if you talk of justice of such, there's a minor crimes and major crime. Murder is it's a Schedule 6. It's a Schedule 6, more especially with a numbering of number of bullets. If it was one bullet, it's fine, and on the hand, you can mediate. When someone is dead, how do you think the families, the friends, the colleagues are feeling? So for that, we need to work ourselves first before we can act. We cannot want to mediate when there's death and there's crime already committed. So Mr. Khan has to go to prison and must face the mighty of the law.
Okay. That being said, my final question to you, short and sharp. What sort of sentence are you hoping will be passed on him? And obviously, this is going to then send a very strong message to criminals, criminality, people who do not, in the heat of a moment, decide to use really violent methods or means to settle a dispute. Let them realize in the heat of the moment, you can take a life and devastate a family and an entire community. And the repercussions will be very, very far reaching indeed. Your response?
Inshallah, I would say death penalty, but unfortunately, we're not there yet. I will give him 3 lives.
3 life sentences.
Yeah.
Brother Musa Kumbe, wonderful talking to you this morning. As I've indicated, we do need to have an in-depth conversation about a whole host of issues about us as a Muslim community and other issues in the country and globally. Inshallah, sometime soon go well, and we will catch up with you once judgment has been passed. Go well, keep us in your du'as, and assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Allah barik inshallah. Jazakallah khairan.
8:56 a.m. exactly. News and views right here on Salam Media. Stay with us. Next online, We are going to be talking with Lungelo Msomi. He's a member of eThekwini Secure, but we'll take him in a minute or two. Do stay with us right here on Salam Media.